Hey everybody, it's deconstruction time. We are going to go from this to this. Are we ready to see how I did this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this segment is going to be called Deconstruction. I'm actually going to take a project and actually show you how I did it from a starting image to the finished product. And this is a result of a question I had when somebody asked me about applying smoke to a cigar in one of the images I did a few days ago, probably 2-3 weeks ago. And how do I add a little bit more to an image just beyond that? And it's actually using overlays. So before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to increasing your creativity as a photographer and photo artist. And again, if you don't know what a photo artist is, it's actually somebody who actually uses a camera and software to create their art and vision. Before we get into this, if you guys can do me a favor, if you could like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified when I have a new video uploaded to YouTube. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started here. Now I'm going to open up Photoshop, and it's over here somewhere. There we go. And this is the finished image right here. And the image that I'm going to start with is basically the image that started right out of the camera, and that is this image right here. Now, notice that this image is a certain aspect ratio, and this one is a square image. In fact, I'm going to do a shortcut keystroke, and that is Control R. That would be Command R on a Mac. And that activates my ruler guides up here. And I can see that this is 10 inches wide. And down here, it's about 15 inches wide. So I'm going to go over here and take a look at this one. So Control R, Command R on a Mac. And this one looks like it is 10 inches wide. And again, it's 15 inches tall. You can also find that out by going to the Image drop-down menu and choosing canvas size or image size. I'll choose canvas size. And this shows me that right here, my width and height is 10 inches by 15. Well, I'd like to make that 15 by 15. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. I think the easiest way is to have relative activated here. If not, I have to do something called math, and that is take 5 inches and add it to the width of 15, or add 5 inches to 10 to make it 15. But if I do relative, I just know I have to add 5 inches to the width. So when I do that, I'm going to type in the number 5, and I'm going to click on this arrow, moving it to the left, meaning that I need to actually move everything over to the right side here, add that 5 inches to the right. So that's why we see this blank here. So if I click on OK, there we go. And you can see that I added the 5 inches there. So we're now at 15 inches here. So I have a 15-inch square. Okay, with that out of the way, I need to expand this because I don't want this white here. So probably one of the easiest ways is to add my selection tool, the rectangle one, and just click and drag in this area and make sure I cover the entire white area. And then different ways we could do this. I probably would just go to Edit drop-down menu, and you could probably just choose Fill and just choose Content Aware. Some people like to use Content Aware Fill, which is a little bit more creative. Either one should do the job because this is pretty simple. And again, it previews that over here for me, and I'm just going to click on OK. Now, my default setting is, let me Control D or Command D to get rid of my marching ants, is I actually put that extra information on a separate layer. So with that selected, I'm just going to do Control E or Command E on a Mac, and that will just flatten those 2 layers down. So there's my starting point right there. Now what I want to do is design this the way I showed you in the finished product. So let me go over here, and this is the way we're actually going to now deconstruct what I actually did. So instead of me doing this manually step by step, I'll probably come close to this, but I want to keep right on track for you guys. So let's analyze how this was put together. This is the base image down here. So that's what I started with. Oops, let me do this. So that's the base image. That's what I just started with. And I ended up with that. So let's take a look how that was put together. I can see the next layer is got some atmosphere there. And that is, again, we'll dissect that in a few minutes. But that is actually an overlay. And we learned how to do overlays with a black background. We use screen as a blending mode. This one is at 49%. So if I take a look at the mask, there's the mask. And again, this is the overlay. Let's take a look at the overlay by itself. And I'm going to move that up to 100% so we can see that. And then disengage the mask for you. So that is the atmosphere overlay I had. I just skewed it with perspective, lined it up the way I needed to have set. And again, just let's drop that back to, I think it was 49%. So I'm just going to scroll that down. Close enough. So that's what we have so far. The next is I actually took, excuse me, that first layer of her, and I actually cut her out and put her on top because I want to put some atmosphere going over the top of her. So in other words, this atmosphere here is going behind her now because of this being on top. So I'm turning that on and off so you can see. So the easiest way to get that, by the way, I'll just turn it off, is if I come back to this layer here, we can come up over here to the select object icon. And I'm just going to choose select subject, let it do its thing. And this doesn't really have to be that accurate. I'll choose select and mask. And I see it missed part of it right there. So with the brush tool here, I'm just going to go in there and, whoops, the wrong one. It should be this one here. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to go in there and paint back that information right there. And then I'm just going to come over here. I don't need the feed or nothing. And in the drop-down menu, I just chose new layer with a mask and click on OK. And this is what I ended up getting. So I just move that. Whoops. I just move that above. And there we go. So let me activate that. So you can see there's the before and after. Same as I did before right there. So we don't need this one. I'm going to delete that. But that's, again, the purpose of doing this is if I close this one out so we don't see it, the atmosphere right now is on top of her. And I don't want to do that. I want it behind her. That's why I duplicated this and made a copy of that on top. So now the atmosphere is behind her right there. The next item I dropped in was an overlay of a spotlight. And you can see that right there. And same thing, I made this into a smart object because I wasn't sure what size I wanted that to be. And if I double click to open that up, we will see that the overlay here in a minute as that opens up. And there's the mask. So I'm just going to turn the mask off so you can actually see that that's the overlay. And again, the key thing, it's in screen blending mode. So remember, screen gets rid of the black. And so I'm just going to close out of that. And let that close out. It's going to take a little while because that's a big file right there. And that should close out here in hopefully a couple seconds. There we go. So there's the before and after. Now what I did was I also colorized the smoke that was coming off of that and or the atmosphere. And the way I did that was I added a curves layer to this. And what I did was I just went to the Oreo cookie dipped in milk. And on the smart object layer, I just chose curves. And what I did in curves, let me double click to open it up. You can see some multiple lines here, a red and blue one. And what I did was I went to the red channel and I bent this up. You can see that this will actually change. Let me move this to the side so we can see this. It actually changed that color, add a little bit more red. And then I went to the blues and I pushed the blues down because I add some yellow. And this is just all, to your liking, how you want that to look. But that's how I colorize that. So I'm just going to cancel that and just let it stay the way it was before. And then I did another atmosphere over the top here of her. You can see that. And again, same concept. This is done in screen mode. This is at 40% opacity. And you can see that, well, let's focus on that so you can actually see that. And let me pull that up. And I'm just going to hide the mask temporarily. So you can see that's what I added. But I masked around that to get the look I wanted. And boy, I can't remember what that was at. Probably like around 40% or 49, something like that. And let's get everything else back. So there's my before and after by adding that atmosphere there. And then the very last thing I did was, or almost last, I added my signature there at the very top, very last thing. But I did a color grade. And the color grade is, again, from the Oreo cookie dipped in milk. And we come over here to color lookup. And I chose in the color lookup, if I remember right, it is crisp warm. So in the drop-down menu, and again, you could scroll through these, but this is crisp warm. That's what I chose. And it's at 56% opacity. If I push it up to 100%, you can see it's a little bit more intense. And again, a lot of this stuff is very subjective. It's based on your needs and what you'd like to have. Okay, so that's how I went from this that we started with to that. So hopefully you learned something here. Again, this is using overlays in screen blending mode. And again, if you can do me a favor, if you'd like this video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to my channel, and also hit the notification bell so next time I upload a video, you'll get notified with that. With that out of the way, you know the way I end all the time. Get that darn camera out, start practicing, start making mistakes, and always think out of the box. And I mean literally take those blinders off and think out of the box. Until next time, see ya.